In this video, we're going to be factoring a trinomial with two variables. In one, it wants us to fill in the blank so the statement is true. In A, when factoring a squared plus 7a plus 10, the first terms in the binomials multiply to a squared, and the last terms multiply to 10. And we got that by looking at the first term of our trinomial and the last term of our trinomial. And in B it says when factoring a squared plus 7ab plus 10b squared, the first terms in the binomial multiply together to a squared, and the last terms multiply together to 10b squared. In 2, it says complete each factorization below. Check your work. In A, we have x squared plus 8x plus 12, and the first two terms need to multiply together to give us x squared, so it's going to be x, and the last terms need to multiply together to give us 12. And we have a 6 already, so we're going to have 6 times 2 is 12, so x plus 2. And now it wants us to check your work. So we want to FOIL out x plus 6 times x plus 2, and that's equal to x squared plus 2x plus 6x plus 12, and that's equal to x squared plus 8x plus 12. And in B, we have x squared plus 8xy plus 12y squared, and our first factor is x plus 6y, and we know that the first two terms need to multiply together to x squared, so we have x times x would be x squared. And now our last two terms need to multiply together to give us 12y squared, and we already have 6y. So if we were to do 12y squared divided by 6y, we would get 2y. And now let's multiply these together to make sure that we get back to our original trinomial. So we have x squared plus 2xy plus 6xy plus 12y squared, and that's equal to x squared plus 8xy plus 12y squared. In 3, we want to factor completely c squared minus 19cd plus 60d squared. So we want to find two integers that multiply to 60 and add to negative 19, and two integers that would multiply to 60 and add to negative 19 is going to be negative 4 and negative 15. So we're going to rewrite the middle term. So we're going to have c squared minus 4cd minus 15cd plus 60d squared. And when we factor by grouping, in the first two terms we can factor out a c. So we have c times c minus 4d. And in the second two terms, I'm going to factor out a negative 15d. And when I factor out negative 15d, I'm left with c minus 4d. And now when I factor out my c minus 4d binomial, I'm left with c minus 15d. And now they want us to check. So let's multiply out our two binomials, and we have c squared minus 15cd minus 4cd plus 60d squared. Combine our center two terms, and we get c squared minus 19cd plus 60d squared. In 4, it says factor completely 7a cubed b minus 35a squared b squared plus 42ab cubed. And we want to factor out the greatest common factor, and 7, 35, and 42 can all be divided by 7, so 7 is going to be part of our greatest common factor. And we have a cubed, a squared, and an a, so we can factor an a out. And b, b squared, and b cubed, so we can factor a b out. And then when we factor out a 7ab, we're left with a squared minus 5ab plus 6b squared. And now we want to find two integers that multiply together to give us 6 and add together to give us -5. So we're going to have -3 and -2. And now we want to rewrite the middle term. So we have 7ab times a squared minus 3ab minus 2ab plus 6b squared. And now we want to factor by grouping. So we have 7ab. In the first two terms, I'm going to factor out an a, and then I have a minus 3b. And then in the second two terms, I'm going to factor out a -2b. And then I have a minus 3b. And now I have 7ab times, when we factor out our binomial, we have a minus 3b, and we're left with a minus 2b. And now they want us to multiply this together to check. So the first thing I'm going to do is multiply together my two binomials and then multiply the monomial times that. So I have a squared minus 2ab minus 3ab plus 6b squared. And I'm going to combine my middle terms inside the parentheses. So I have a squared minus 5ab plus 6b squared. And now I'm going to multiply 7ab times each term in the parentheses. So I get 7a cubed b minus 35 a squared b squared plus 42 a b cubed. And that's our video on factoring a trinomial with two variables.